Order regarding item number 1, public access to meetings. The meeting is open for public attendance. You may also watch the meeting remotely via live stream. Item number 2, meeting opening and roll call. Carlin, can you call the roll call and verification of quorum?
Certainly. Mr. Robbie.
Here.
Ms. Portson.
Here.
Mr. Pope.
Here.
Mr. Summers.
Here.
Ms. Erler.
Here.
Ms. Rano.
Here.
Mr. Kowalski.
Here.
Mr. Campos.
Here.
Ms. Bushman.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. And if we can please stand, and before the pledge, have a moment of silence for those that lost their lives on 9/11 22 years ago and their families. Thank you. And now the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, item number 4, the Mandana Bliss Award. The Mandana Bliss Award is a symbol of our deep appreciation for the unwavering commitment and outstanding efforts demonstrated by our staff members for educational excellence in the Stevens Point Area Public School District. It is named in honor of Mandana Hale Bliss, Stevens Point's first school teacher and trailblazer, whose exceptional service and dedication continue to inspire us all. I'd like to pass this over to Corey.
So the district took a little pause during the pandemic in providing our Mandana Bliss Awards. So we're happy and pleased to start bringing them back at each board meeting. And with that, I am going to introduce Lee Nowicki, who is our transportation manager, and have him come forward to say a few words to our first 2023-24 Mandana Bliss Award winner, and that's Karen Adams. Congratulations, Karen.
Well, good evening, everyone.
Karen, come on up and stand by Lee. Thank you.
The Mandana Bliss Award recognizes excellence in support and service to our school district. Tonight, I have the distinct honor of recognizing one of my staff, Karen Adams. Karen has worked her entire 25 years in the transportation department, starting out as a school bus driver and then working as a route coordinator. The beginning of each school year is a hectic time for our staff and our department, the various administrations, and the office personnel across the district. As one of Karen's nominators said, Karen is a problem solver whose patience and knowledge of transportation process decreases the anxiety and stress of the students and the families of our district. She's extremely kind, helpful, and always pleasant to work with. Another nominator praised Karen's understanding for her role in making students successful, applying her problem skill solving, dedication to task, and critical thinking as key elements in helping support student successes. Her attention to detail has impressed me as her supervisor and has always exceeded my expectations. She makes a meaningful contribution to our department's overall success, and her can-do attitude and work ethic really embodies our district values. We are lucky to have her in our department and our district. One of her nominators said that when people think of school heroes, transportation route coordinators do not always make the list. The nominator went on to say that she often tells Karen that she and her colleagues must have magic dust because they make the impossible possible every single day. Karen, thank you for making the impossible possible. Congratulations on being selected for the Mandana Bliss Award.
Congratulations. Thank you. Yes. If you want to take a few minutes, we're going to go around and have you introduce or congratulate each board member, and then we'll take a picture in the middle. Sorry about that.
Okay, that's okay.
So you want to start with Alex?
Hi, Alex.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Karen.
Congratulations, Karen. Thank you for all you do.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thanks for doing an awesome job.
Thanks.
Took a test of time there. The history. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Karen.
Thank you.
Congratulations. You did such a nice job. I feel like I know you.
He did. He's awesome.
Where'd you go?
So wonderful way to start a meeting. Yes. Okay, moving to item number 5, public comments. As a reminder, comments made by the public shall be civil in content and tone, affirming the decorum established for a school board meeting by the school board. Do we have any emailed comments, Carlin?
We
that were
did not
submitted?
receive any.
Okay, thank you. And I don't see that anyone has signed up for public comments here. Is that correct? Okay. Moving on to item number 6, presentations. We have communication report with Sarah O'Donnell. Oh, sorry, Sarah's. She was multitasking, dual purpose, yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, you bet. So included in your packets is an updated communication report for August 2023. I change these every year, so this is our new format. Let me know if you like it, don't like it. I wanted to include kind of what we focused on during August. So obviously back to school was a big push for us, making sure people had the information in accessible ways. We also did push a 4K enrollment campaign along with a preschool push. We saw those numbers were a little bit lower than we wanted, so really wanted to work hard to make sure folks knew that those programs were available and still enrolling. We're also continuing to work on websites. Excuse me. Looking to launch in January. So really upped that effort through both the end of July into August will continue to be a focus for us into September. And then providing department support, which really looked like HR recruitment campaigns, helping new principals get up to speed on communication tools and channels, and then helping folks kind of really put together and get out those newsletters as we come into the beginning of the year. We will also be doing kind of a post-mortem on our back-to-school communication. No matter how hard we try every year, I feel like we still have some folks that like I see online like, oh, I didn't know, like we have orientation tomorrow. So just looking to see kind of where those gaps might be and where we can do a better job moving forward. Always trying to improve. Website performance is included, most visited for the month, not surprising, calendar and transportation. Folks looking for what those bus routes were, so glad they were able to access that. Social media performance, we saw increased uptick throughout the month, which does not surprise me, right? July was a pretty slow month, kind of on purpose. Give everybody a little bit of a communication break. And then continue to go up. We also saw really good engagement on our Point Proud campaign, both internally and externally for back to school. I had asked staff to kind of share what they were doing to get ready for the school year and had a lot of really good submissions for that. And it's really nice to be able to share that, like, right, teachers are working really hard, not just on day one of school, but leading up to school. So sharing those stories was really rewarding and I hope informative for our community. E-newsletters went out. We had really high click rate, which was fantastic, 80% internally, 34% externally, which is well above industry standards, so we know information is being consumed there. Media coverage was great throughout the month, and I am going to talk about something that doesn't fall in August, but is in September. I'm really excited. We received national news coverage last week for the boys cross country. It was just so fun to watch that story kind of get set up and then go viral and see those come through. So we had 25 media pieces that ended up covering that, including Good Morning America. We knew they were going to run a web story and pushed really, really hard to get that on that morning show, which they did run on Friday as the play of the day, which was just, Corey and I were texting each other. It was happening. It was just really cool to see those boys get that recognition. It was really great. And for our district and our community, it had a reach of over 13.8 million viewers. Got to see how awesome our Splash Cross Country team is. So that's really exciting. Looking ahead to September, continue to work on websites. We'll do homecoming coverage is kind of our big story. That's the last week of September. If you've not had a chance to participate or attend our homecoming festivities, the parade is awesome. There's a lot of things that happen throughout that week, but I really highly recommend attending that if you can. And then really working on that communication plan, looking towards referendum, which I'll pivot to now. You did receive a copy of the updated referendum timeline. And I know it can feel like we know this big kind of conversation is coming, right? And for us, that real pivot will happen when the board takes the vote. So what we're really in right now is that process piece of going through programming, taking a look at what funding might be needed. Tom is doing a tremendous amount of work, as are other department heads. So we're continuing to define needs. That program review is taking place and really looking to develop a referendum solution to present to the board to consider as we move forward. From a communication standpoint, that really looks like trying to keep people informed with opportunities to engage or ask questions. So this month we'll probably put together just a very general website that starts to give out some of that information as we go, continue to keep staff informed, via newsletters. Corey has some opportunities coming up where she'll be in buildings anyway, so we'll piggyback onto that until, right, if the board were to make that decision to go to referendum, that's where we'd really shift into high gear on that communication campaign. That's it for me, unless there's questions.
Any questions for Sarah or comments?
Thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
So Sarah, I love I love the graphics. I really love this report. I
thank
think
you.
it might be helpful next month if this is the format we're going to, if we could
Oh,
have it available for the community up
Oh,
on
sure.
the,
absolutely.
yeah.
I'd be happy for that. Thank you for that feedback. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Meg.
Okay, thanks, Sarah. Moving on to item B, superintendent report with Corey.
So I'm going to start with the beginning of the year update. It's awesome to see our staff back in the buildings and our students back in the buildings. I've spent a lot of time at the beginning of the year just visiting classrooms, and I can't believe the amount of work that staff put in before the students walk in the front door. But kids come in and they jump right back into routine, and it's been really a good start all in all. So thank you, staff. Thank you, parents, for sharing your kids with us, and we're hoping we're going to have a great year. In addition, all of our certified classroom teaching positions are filled at this time. We are still looking for a few special ed EAs and regular ed EA positions, but we're feeling pretty good about our staffing right now. You're going to hear a summer school report a little bit later, but in addition, I felt like it was worth sharing with you that over the summer months, our food service department served 24,884 lunches and 11,700 breakfasts. So they have done a phenomenal job of making sure that our kids are fed and families are fed over the summer months. They were also recognized nationally, and they were the only school district in the state of Wisconsin for their meal prep. So congratulations to the food service department. They're doing a great job. Also, I'd like to mention that Barb Portson and G. Pope have received recognition from WASB. Barb is a level 2 for her leadership and board development, and G a level 3. So thank you to Barb and G for participating in those WASB events. With that, I wanted to mention, just a reminder, if you're interested in attending that fall meeting on October 3rd at the Holiday Inn at Rothschild, please let Carlin know ASAP. And you have to let Carlin know by tomorrow if you are interested in partaking in the SPASH Athletic Hall of Fame, which is on September 23rd. And that's all I have, unless there's questions.
There's one more, November 4th. There's a legislative conference in, I think, Green Lake.
Like,
Okay.
thank you, G.
Any other questions or comments for Corey? Moving on to item number 6C, we have the Century Foundation Technology Innovation Grant. I'll hand it over to Corey for this.
Sure. So I'm pleased to announce that we are the proud recipients of $1 million grant from the Century Insurance Foundation. They have been just a phenomenal partner and collaborator with us. They've provided our district with a ton of support in the past, and they continue to do so. So I just personally want to say, on behalf of the district, thank you very much, Century. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris and Brian, and they're going to share a little bit about what the grant is about.
Thank you, Corey. And as Corey led with, it is with incredible excitement and enthusiasm that we introduce this agenda item, which highlights the Technology Innovation Initiative grant that we've recently learned has been funded by our partners at Century World. Since 2009, our Century World partners have focused their charitable support on helping K-12 schools in Stevens Point to purchase and maintain computers and information technology resources to be the best in class in their educational support and ensure that students develop the skills needed to be successful in both their lives and in their careers. Last fall, when we learned that another 3-year grant cycle would be available in 2003 through 2005, we really challenged ourselves to think about how we could leverage what we've currently been provided through grant funds at Century, and we could really enhance and enrich the current technology offerings that we have available to students. Recognizing that the tenets of teaching and learning have certainly shifted in the last decade away from rote memorization and the regurgitation of facts, we really did look for a grant proposal that would allow students not only to continue to grow and enhance their technology skills, but also to develop skills in collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and creativity. where we landed, and this was through several conversations with our partners at Century. We landed on the development of a STEM curriculum that will be implemented in all of our K-6 classrooms. And for those of you that aren't familiar with STEM, it's activities that are focused on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So at this point, I'd like to pass it to Brian, and he'll talk a little bit about some of the deliverables and some of the outcomes that our students will experience over the next 3 years of the grant cycle.
Thanks, Chris. Before I start, I just want to say that we had a lot of help getting this grant ready, and October Penner really deserves a lot of credit for what she did for this. She's an incredible educator, and she's been a proponent of STEM in the district, along with other teachers as well. So we drew on those resources. We are also enlisting the help of a national level consultant, Naomi Harm, who's very well known. She's set up STEM programs in multiple states for the entire state for very large and small school districts. So Chris mentioned what STEM actually is and what that means. What we're trying to do with it is not just create activities that can be done separately in the classroom. We are trying to come up with STEM activities that fit into existing curriculum. And that was a big challenge because they have their regular math, and then they have a science lesson, or they have literacy lessons. How do you get those type of activities where teachers can integrate them in a meaningful way and not just have to do another curriculum? That is a very big challenge. And we think we have a really good proposal with that. We are creating 4 areas of concentration, and we will create a series of lessons that are designed around our curriculum. And we have October and Amber, who are going to be our STEM coaches, to come into the classrooms and help model those lessons when teachers need help. So it's not just doing something different. It's saying there's a literacy activity and they have a book. When they read the book, when they're done, they can have a problem solving or team building activity or something else that involves creativity that's hands-on that enhances that lesson. So the goal is by the end of the 3 years that we will have staff that have received a great deal of professional development in what STEM is and how to do it well. And the other deliverables we'll have are actual lessons that they can take with. And of course, the Century Insurance Foundation is funding a lot of money for equipment. Some STEM activities, you don't need a lot of very high-tech equipment, but some you do. So about $500,000 of that grant is earmarked to buy the supplies and equipment that we need. So we also have representatives from the Century Insurance Foundation. I guess I would like to call you to come up and introduce yourselves.
Good evening. I'm Stephanie Smith. I'm the Chief Marketing and Brand Officer at Century and also President of the Century Insurance Foundation. My colleagues.
Good evening. It's great to be here with you all tonight and to hear more about the STEM into the Future program that is ready to be launched in the coming years. I'm Kaylin Pempek. I'm the Executive Director of the Century Insurance Foundation.
Hi everyone, I'm Jim Frank. I'm the Chief Claims and Information Technology Officer at Century, and looking forward to the success of the program as it rolls out.
Thank you.
I guess at this point, if the board has any questions about the grant and what we're doing, we would gladly answer them. And then after that, I think we're going to do a picture.
Any questions for the Century?
I have a quick question. So did you say that this, recognizing there's a lot of planning and purchasing, is this going to kick off next calendar year, or do we not know that yet?
So the professional development is going to start this year.
Okay.
When they actually start launching those activities in the classroom won't happen until earliest next semester.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to say thank you for everybody that was involved in doing this. I know this is personally for me is a huge thing. I am a huge proponent for STEM education. Thank you to Century. It's awesome that you guys are partnering with the school district on this. So this is definitely something bringing us literally into the future. So I think this is extremely important to our students and the parents at large. So thank you to everybody involved. I imagine, and thank you in advance to everybody who's going to be required to get this off the ground. So appreciate it.
I just want to say thank you. I mean, COVID is a little bit in our rearview mirror, but if we hadn't had Century support, if we hadn't had the one-to-one devices that was all about Century, we would not have been anywhere in being able to support our students and our families. And so this has been an ongoing partnership. But it's been an ongoing proactive partnership. Century has been very good about making sure we have the technology, the computers, the software that we need as we move into the future. And this is just another example of it. So I greatly appreciate the ongoing support. Because our students are your future employees.
That's right.
And we're all growing together.
Any other questions?
No, thank you so much.
So if you don't mind, if we could do a picture similar to what we did for Mandana Bliss, and then maybe have you go around and introduce yourselves to each board member. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Jim.
Good to see you again.
Let's have a, yes, October Bushman, thank you.
Stephanie, again. Yes.
Jen Bushman, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, and thank you so much for thinking of me. Thank you so much.
Oh.
Thank you.
Hey,
very
good
much.
again. Nice
Thank you very much.
Hey, nice to meet you, Jen Bushman.
I mean, the curling.
Hi, thanks very much.
Thanks so much for.
Thank you.
All you do.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thank you, Jim.
Are we all?
Appreciate it.
Jen, you can be in that.
Jen, you should be in the picture.
That's pretty cool.
I would agree.
This is where we go.
Really short next to you. Yes.
Were we gonna kneel? We're not kneeling.
Good management call.
Okay, there we go. 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Hey, that's exciting news. Thank you again, Century. All right, moving on to item number 7, consent agenda. This includes the minutes from the August 14th, 2023 school board meeting, approval of the scheduled monthly bills, employment recommendations. I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have Judy and Dennis seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Carlin, can you please call roll?
Sure.
Due to the approval of monthly bills.
Ms. Reno.
Yes.
Mr. Robbie.
Yep. Yes.
Mr. Pope.
Yes.
Mr. Campos.
Yes.
Mr. Kowalski.
Yes.
Ms. Portson.
Yes.
Ms. Erler.
Yes.
Mr. Summers.
Yes.
Ms. Bushman.
Yes.
And motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 8, business services. We have a business services and human resources committee report with Judy.
So we had a very good meeting last week and went through a lot of different things, covering referendum, budget coming out, new budget format. So just a heads up, you'll see some new things. It sounds really, really interesting when we get all of that. There is one thing that is on the agenda from that, and that is the personal leave. So is Beth going to speak to that?
Yes, Beth will speak to that.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So you may recall that last year we ran a trial program for our unused personal leave. And what we allowed employees to do this past year was to either roll over their unused personal leave into their sick leave balances, or they could receive a payout at the sub rate of pay. So we had 49 employees that received a payout totaling $16,468. We had 306 employees roll over 369 days. So in your package, you'll see a graph in terms of how that breakdown came out. And we actually experienced a cost avoidance of $56,843. So based on that experience, we are recommending that we continue this program. Not only did it keep employees in the classroom, it reduced our needs for subs, but also allowed flexibility to the employees. So we think it's a good practice to move forward with.
How many personal days do they get?
It depends on their contract, but most, for school year employees, it's 3 days.
And sick days, how many do they get?
Again, it depends on if they're 10, 11th, or 12th month contract employees, but I would say average 10 days.
So a total of 13.
Yes.
So, motion to approve the personal leave program as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any other questions or discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion
All right,
carries.
thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Beth.
Thanks, Beth.
Item number 10, Educational Services. We have the Educational Services Committee report with G.
Okay, we have two things on the agenda. Chris is going to speak to the first one, that's the commencement ceremony day.
Yep, sure. Thank you, G. So first item is an action item, and I know that Dr. Vollendorf is here in the audience, prepared to speak to this particular item, which really resulted in some informal feedback that came last year from families about the possibility of moving the SPASH commencement ceremony to the Friday evening of Memorial Day weekend from the Sunday afternoon of Memorial Day weekend. And I know that an extensive survey was done, and we were able to talk through some of those survey results at Ed Services. But with that, Mr. Vollendorf, I'll pass it to you.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us tonight to talk about this. As Chris just shared, this started with some informal qualitative feedback over the past 5 years or so, specifically regarding the timing of our ceremony on Memorial Day weekend. There was never a consideration to move it off of Memorial Day weekend. That's a tradition firmly entrenched here in our district and in our school. But it started with that question of, geez, why do you do it on Sunday afternoon in the middle of the weekend when it's a holiday weekend, and wouldn't it make more sense to maybe do it at the very front? So Corey and I talked with Sarah last spring, and we shared a survey out in one of Corey's updates, just asking for some informal feedback on it. That feedback suggested and backed up what people had been sharing with us. So before we brought that back to you with a recommendation, we wanted to vet that a little bit more. Specifically, we wanted to give people who may want to the opportunity to share their opinion on it. When I say people, I'm referring directly to students, to families, and to staff. And let me back up by starting and start over by saying our purpose with commencement at SPASH is we want to work really hard annually to make sure that we're delivering and producing a student-centered celebration, one that the students, their families, everyone in our district, from the custodian to the classroom teacher to the school board member to the superintendent, of which they can be really proud. We want it to be a polished, classy ceremony. So we want to make sure with anything that we do relative to the ceremony that purpose stays intact. Moreover, we wanted to make sure that we keep some of our other commencement traditions intact. Those include a rehearsal on Friday morning so that our students are well informed and actually practice how things are going to go. There's a lot of coordination that goes into that event and that actual ceremony. We wanted to make sure that we wouldn't disrupt our elementary school walks. That's a tradition that's now 7 years old, wherein our graduates return in their cap and gown to their elementary schools and say goodbye to their teachers and walk the halls. It's a very positive event, and it grows a little bit every year. And then we also want to make sure that we don't do anything that would jeopardize or take away from Project Graduation, which is our chemical-free overnight lock-in graduation party the night of graduation. So this recommendation maintains all of those things. It simply moves our ceremony to Friday evening instead of Sunday afternoon. And as you can see from the feedback, this was a survey that was shared with students, with staff, and with parents and was left open for about a month. So hopefully people that wanted to offer an opinion on it had an opportunity to do so. And you can see that we're pushing close to 80% of the people who responded either supported moving it to Friday or said, we don't mind which day you do it on. So that's why we're here tonight looking to make this change.
Questions?
I will make a motion to approve revising the 2023-2024 district calendar to reflect changing the SPASH commencement ceremony date to Friday, May 24th, 2024, and all subsequent SPASH commencement ceremony dates to the Friday before Memorial Day is presented.
A motion by Meg,
Second.
second by Judy. Discussion?
I just had one thing. I remember a while back, we tried to change the date. I mean, I'm all for this, but there was a big row about that. And I don't know what's different now than was suggested at the time. Do you remember that?
I do vividly.
What's different now?
I was an assistant principal at the time. For one thing, we were in the process of a superintendent changeover. And that change was implemented and the ceremony was moved to, I believe it was the Sunday after all students were done with the school year. So the history lesson with this is that, you know, back before the state law mandated that we could not start before August 1st, our district historically started the last week in August. So commencement weekend naturally in a very linear manner fell on Memorial Day weekend, which was usually a day or two before students were done and then a day or two before the teachers were done. So when that change was made, I believe, and this is personal just bias and memory of it, I believe that the reason that so many people were upset with that was because it removed it from Memorial Day weekend and kept the seniors in class the same amount of time as everybody else, which is a practice that's not super common. You know, most schools, and I've got, you know, one of the things I've done over the past few weeks is I can tell you when every graduation date is in our conference, and they start on the 18th of May up in Wausau, and the last one this year is Rapids that got pushed back a little bit more. I think it's on June 1st. So that I think is why that happened, is it kind of took the Memorial Day weekend tradition that I've come to learn is a very valued thing in our community and moved it off of that.
So the difference is it's still Memorial Day weekend.
Correct.
And it wasn't before.
I believe so. And our seniors, you know, with this change, this change doesn't do anything to our seniors' last day. Our seniors' last day of school will still be Thursday before Memorial Day weekend. We'll still have graduation rehearsal Friday morning like we always have. It's just now we'll come back on Friday night for the ceremony instead of on Sunday.
And Project Grad follows immediately after.
Project Grad, the one adjustment that we'd make to Project Grad is we have started at 9 p.m. If we have a 6 p.m. commencement, we're going to need to start at 10. Okay. But talking with Bonnie Bronk, she's our resident Project Grad leader, that's a very simple change. It doesn't affect the hypnotist or any of the important things that the kids do.
I think it's a great change. I think being able to have all of that, just the ramping up on that Friday, will be really amazing. And I think also allowing families, because with this, there were so many families that came in on Friday, and students were having graduation parties before they even graduated. So I really like the idea that the graduation will happen on Friday, and then families will have the ability to choose what they want to do that weekend, all about celebrating their kids once they've graduated.
I've had two kids of my own graduate. My wife's unofficial 2 cents on this is that there really aren't. Friday night is one of the least common grad party dates because it's the last day, it's a graduation rehearsal. So this opens that up hopefully for families and gives them that holiday weekend.
Your wife sounds like she knows what she's talking about.
I've learned that, yes.
Play her back this clip in the recording, okay? All right, any other comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you.
John.
Then the other thing was about the summer school report. Chris?
Thank you, G. And at this point, our summer school co-coordinators, Darla Panoski and Jen Melville, are here, and they will run through the information that they were able to share based on the survey results that were collected following the 2023 summer school, and we'll conclude with sharing some recommendations for the upcoming year.
Hi, everybody. So we started out this year's summer school with some pretty strategic objectives, similar to in the past, is really to improve student engagement during the summer and really find programming that can be really inclusive and really meet the different demands of our students, as well as our parents and what our parents are looking for. And in addition to that, really develop those partnerships with additional community organizations and other things that families might be interested in as well. So
I don't know what's happening.
Okay, I was like getting sick for a sec there. Here, all right.
There we go. Well,
We'll keep it up. There we go. All right, awesome. Okay, so for this year, what we're really excited about is that our enrollment continued to climb, and so we are looking at numbers that were pre-COVID. So we've got our enrollment back up. If you look, we were at 2,641 students that participated in some aspect of summer school. The year before, I know that's really hard to read right there, but hopefully it was right around 2,300. Right around 2,400, and the year before that it was 2,300. So we have continued to increase that. We are really thankful to transportation. We've changed our transportation in the last couple of years. We used to not bus students to SPASH, and if you look at that from an equity standpoint, from different things, those are some students who really needed those classes because they would possibly fail, need to repeat, and so transportation has been great and worked with us, and so you'll see that those requests have continued to climb, and so we are just at about 1,000 students. So just about a little over a third of our students use transportation during summer school. And again, they did an amazing job creating a hub at SPASH and then getting students to the other schools that we used. The buildings that we utilized this summer were Kennedy, McKinley, Madison, Roosevelt, Ben, PJs, and SPASH. So we did some different programming along with different things at the junior high, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the needs to continue those buildings, in particular as our programming continues to grow. New this year, because we planned around the golf outing with Century, we went to a Monday through Friday schedule. We used to do a Monday through Thursday schedule. We've got some feedback on that as to what parents thought as well as teachers. We had a 2-week break in the middle of that. That was to accommodate the golf outing and allow for some different things there, and as well as really looked at what was happening with our enrollment during that week of the 4th of July. We included things this year, YEP, which we'll get into a little bit more. I'm going to actually turn that one to you. As we talk about that, and Game On. So we did some different things with UWSP. One of the things that we were hearing, we've got this great university in our backyard, and if we can strengthen our partnership with them, and so we've made some awesome gains with some professors there, and we're able to offer some different things and get college athletes and high school athletes working with our younger students, and also offer that coaching and those things on fundamentals at a really affordable rate. If you look at some of the coaching, if you go to private lessons, it's $75 to $100 an hour. This was $20 for 4 weeks of instruction, 3 days a week. So we were really excited about that. We included football camps and then started another new program, which was Bridge to Success. And that was with our junior highs. And so that was a program that we really kind of zoned in on some different students who would benefit from just a little bit of a boost before making that huge transition from elementary to junior high. And we worked with the elementary schools on recommendations and then got them in there, worked with the school forest. And so that program was really successful as well in terms of giving those students an idea of who are some go-to adults, because right, that's the hardest thing when you transition to a new building is who are these go-to people. I'm so used to this elementary school where I've known people. So that was another success of this year that we were pretty excited about.
Next, I'm going to talk about, we had a chance to send out 2 surveys, one that went to parents and one that went to staff. And we were wanting some feedback, especially since our programming programming looked so different this year. And as you can see, one of the questions for parents was the program length and date options. And we had 3 different options. One would be continue that Monday through Friday, continue with the 2-week break. Option 2 was continue with the Monday through Friday, have a 1-week break during that 4th of July, and we would end actually a week earlier than what we would typically end. And then option 3 would go back to the 6 weeks of Monday through Thursday. And as you can see, option 3 was the parents' first choice, but very close behind that was option 2, the Monday through Friday with that 1-week break. The other questions we asked parents, we wanted to find out their level of satisfaction. And we asked them about communication regarding registration, transportation, access to breakfast and lunch programs, communication during summer school, the program options, and your child's overall experience. And as you can see, all of them, this was really awesome to see, and that they were all really satisfied. There were, looking at the comments and from the parents, a lot of the feedback that wasn't overall satisfied was actually that 2-week break. They felt like it was hard to get the kids back in the groove of those last 2 weeks. It was hard to get their kids back there and get back into the swing of summer school. On the staff survey results, we once again asked about program length and date options because we need our staff in order to run these programs. And overwhelmingly, option 2 was their first choice. Option 3 was their last choice. And so you'll see in our recommendations that we are recommending that option 2 to stick with Monday through Friday, and then have that 1 week off during the 4th of July. One of the things that a lot of the comments from staff was when we first rolled out the Monday through Friday, they were like, are you kidding me? Like, we always had Monday through Thursday, but they said actually it was fine. It was great. They felt like it really wasn't a big change, and they really liked having that break, but they also felt like that 2 weeks was too long. Mm-hmm. That once again, getting back into the groove, it was difficult. So the other part was satisfaction. How satisfied were you regarding summer employment opportunities, the communication that they received during summer school, and the level of support provided by summer school coordinators and principals. And as you can see, that staff was overall very satisfied.
And we have to give a huge kudos and shout out in particular to HR and Amber Pellegrim. She did a fantastic job in supporting this, retaining and hiring, as well as recruiting staff. She was great. And then when you look at Ed Services with Teresa Bentz, Amber Hofferman, and Stacy View, they did a great job of really helping with that communication. So we wouldn't be able to do this if it weren't for, in particular, those people that did an amazing job. So that, I think, is a reflection of the awesome things they do. So thank you to them.
Before we go on to our recommendations, I just want to speak a little bit about the YEP program that Jen mentioned earlier. In years past, the UWSP has put on a youth and college program, which typically went for 1 to 2 weeks, and during the middle of our summer school programming, they discontinued it. And so we met with some of the staff members that were kind of our veteran youth and college teachers, and to get their feedback and kind of brainstorm with them how we could take what they did and incorporate that into our programming for summer school. And so what we did was during that 2-week break, that not the 4th of July weekend, but that week, 4th of July week, but that week before, we offered a YEP program, which stands for Youth Enrichment Program, and it was all day, Monday through Friday. We held it at PJ's. because we had access to breakfast and lunch there. We didn't provide transportation because our busing was being utilized by the Century Golf outing. We had 15 different classes that teachers put on, and ranging from power of play for the kindergartners to
Dream Vacations.
Pardon
That was
me?
my favorite, Dream Vacations.
Dream
My daughter took it,
Vacations,
yes.
So a lot of, just a variety of different programs. We were intentional to be able to provide at least one or two options for each grade level. So a lot of times the programming, like Dream Vacations, might have been 4, 5, 6 grade level. So we really were intentional about providing some options for all of our grade levels K through 6.
So looking forward to next year, the buildings that we're recommending are Madison, McKinley, Kennedy, and we are actually recommending to stay at Roosevelt again. We don't know how we could possibly actually go back to Jefferson based upon the size of the enrollment that we continue to see, which is awesome. And so we are recommending those as our elementary sites. We would again use SPASH 512. That continues to work out really well. I think it's great to introduce, I might be slightly biased, but I think it's great to introduce our grade school kids to SPASH early on and have them help realize that it's not as big and scary of a building. And so I think that helps with transition and different things, along with just the different things that are going on there. We'll continue to do swim at SPASH and PJs. And then we'll also continue to do the Bridge to Success program at each of the junior highs and things like that, and plan accordingly depending on what projects are going on. But those are the buildings we would recommend. In terms of the schedule, we're looking at option 2. That is that 4 weeks, Monday through Friday, with that 1 week break in between. And then we are looking at continuing program throughout the summer for those who would like more programming by running YEP the week after that, from 9 to 3 from July 22nd through the 26th. And then running an additional week of programming with Camp Invention like we have in the last couple of years. So it still offers parents 6 weeks of programming, but just does it a little bit different. And what we think is great about that is it allows our staff a little bit of flexibility to determine how long they want to work during their summer. If you want to do the 4-week program, you can do that. If you just want to do 1 week with YEP, if you want to do YEP, it really gives them some flexibility. And if we don't have them, we can't run summer school. And to be honest, it is so great to have our own staff in our buildings running summer school because they know our buildings, they know our kids and different things, and it really just makes things run seamlessly. So that's what we are proposing for next year. Transportation, again, they've been awesome to work with. Continues SPASH being the hub with the start and end times the way that they are. They adjusted some things this year, and that worked out really great. Early learners, we did learn a little bit about the length of day that they can really be there and do well with that. So we've adjusted, we've shortened their day a little bit, and they dismiss at 11:30. And so we heard really good feedback about that. And then when it comes to registrations, we did try something new this year. One of the things that we've done before is we used to have a registration window, and then we would close it and do late registrations. That was great for people who forgot to register their kids. However, it created issues with transportation and our principals. And so this year, by not doing that, it allowed transportation to have route set. They felt much better about that. Our principals told us how great the start was because they weren't rerunning class lists the day before and things like that. So we will continue that, along with continuing to look at some alternatives for a few other things like Panther Performance and some of our sports camps. As one of the high school people, and credit recovery courses, we sometimes don't know if our kids need credit recovery courses until the last minute. And things like Panther Performance, you may think that your teenager signed up for it, but they may forget. So to accommodate that, we've got some different ideas for that, but those are our recommendations going forward. Any questions?
Will you provide transportation for YEP this upcoming year, given no golf tournament?
That's something that we will have to determine with transportation.
Okay.
So that is going to be on the agenda of discussion with them, only because year after year, it's difficult to get bus drivers to sign on for the summer, so a lot of it's going to depend on that.
Okay. Just to your point on equitable opportunities, I mean, it was, my daughter took it, loved the, and we were youth in college, you know, they were youth in college students, they loved the opportunity. So to be able to have everyone who would like to take the course be able to take it, even if they have transportation challenges, would be
And I can say, I think our experience working with Lee is that if he can make it work, he absolutely will. And he's done some great things in terms of surveying his drivers and saying, what does my staff look like for that time, so that we've got that data. And he does that really early on, so we would be able to have that information soon.
And we've even brainstormed ideas such as being able to get them there and then having parents pick up, so then
Yeah.
it's just one. I mean, we
I love the flexibility.
kind of
yeah.
thrown around several different ideas of how we could make this work, because we do want everybody that really wants to experience those different classes to be able to.
Awesome. Any other questions or comments?
So I want to call out yep. I mean, I have 4 kids. 2 of them immediately qualified. 2 of them had to jump through all the hoops, which they did. But it was a very onerous process for kids who weren't at a certain grade level, and sometimes that doesn't necessarily reflect the child's ability and also the need for enrichment. So I really love the fact that we are opening up those
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's something I didn't mention, is the fact that with the youth in college, students had to be nominated by their teacher as well as be at least 2 grade levels ahead. And we were missing a lot of kids. And so that was one thing that we wanted to do, was to be able to open this up to, yes, specific grade levels, but it wasn't based on your academic ability. And some of the staff that I surveyed, they really loved the diversity that it provided of the kids. So I'm really happy with that we made that choice.
It was for kids who didn't automatically qualify. There just was a process you had to go through. There was having to get records from school. There had to be personal recommendations from teachers. And again, so I really love opening up that opportunity. I also want to call out Bridge to Success. I just think that's such a great idea to bring kids who maybe we have a sense are going to be a little bit intimidated from that move from grade school into the junior highs, for them to be able to have that extra support before school starts.
And even that extra time to be able to figure out their locker combination.
Exactly.
I mean, that's huge. Yes.
Exactly. So I just,
Yeah.
And builds a bridge with our parents that says we care about your kid.
Yep.
Great job.
Great. Thank you. Darla.
Great. Okay, thank you. Okay, we're moving on to item number 11, Student Services, Annual Seclusion and Restraint Report. We have Jenny McMahon, Director of Student Services.
Hi, everyone. It's good to see you. I've provided in your packet your annual update or report on seclusion and restraint. So this is data, information, statistics that come to you every year to let you know how we're doing with this. So within this annual report, it gives you some information and background and procedures that districts follow within the state. So seclusion and restraint is a rare event. It's something that's used in very few situations, but in situations that might be causing imminent danger or harm to a child or to others. So again, it's a very rare occurrence, but it's a very important intervention to document, just because it is such a severe intervention that could be used with a student. In your packet, I provided you a table that breaks down incidences of seclusion and restraint, both by students who are classified in general education and students in special education programming. It also provides you the number of students. So for example, one student might have 2 incidences, or 2 students may each have 1 incident. It breaks it down by each building, so all of our elementaries, our junior high schools, all the way up to our high school, and gives you hopefully as much data to just understand what's going on in our building, and again, just see that it's a very rare intervention that's used with students.
I've also added, just from some feedback at committee, a historical view, just so you can understand the awesome improvements that all of our staff and teachers have been making in using a wide variety of strategies, especially preventative strategies, and all the tools that they have in working with students. So I provided you the last 5 years of data that again breaks down the similar data for our overall occurrences of seclusion and restraint, again both by regular and special ed. We've made huge gains. If you look back 5 years, numbers were in hundreds. Now we're well below that, especially this last year. Everyone has worked very hard to implement things like positive behavior supports, understanding the function of behavior, so why might someone be behaving in a way that's maladaptive, and how can we switch that and make that more pro-social or more skill-based here at school. So I'm super proud to share that data with you. I hope you're proud of all the teachers as well for their hard work. And again, it's just data that helps us understand how can we be more effective with students. Because even though there may be instances of seclusion or restraint, we'd love to have zero. Just because we know that level of intervention really isn't something that we'd want to use frequently with someone. It can create long-term concerns. Within your packet, we've also explained just some of the general procedures we take if there was some of those incidences, whether it would be planned or unplanned. Sometimes that can happen. But even with students who might have it as a plan in their IEP, we're still concerned if we're seeing that frequently. And the team would be getting together to talk about, again, are there tweaks? Are there large changes, small changes, something just going on that we need a heads up on? Just so there's that communication to, again, hope for every instance of prevention that's possible. So within your report this year, again, a big decrease, very proud of that. Seclusion totals for regular ed was 5 occurrences across 3 students. Seclusion totals for special ed, 43 occurrences across 20 students. Restraint totals, regular education would be 9 occurrences among 4 students. Special education would be 36 occurrences across 18 students. Any questions that I can answer about your annual report?
Thank you for the historical data.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're
I
welcome.
remember the board back then being alarmed at the data that was coming out in 17, 18, 18, 19, and the focus that administration and staff and teachers took to turn things way around.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, thank you,
Great
Jenny.
job, Jenny. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's move to item number 14. Under general, we have citizen appointment for standing board committees, and I'm going to hand this over to Corey.
Sure. So committee chairs and their respective committees followed the new process that was approved by the board in policy 155. So we are asking tonight for the board to approve Felicia Gremmer and Chris Scott to the Business Services and Human Resources Committee, and for Amy Shaleen and Carol Colby to the Educational Services Committee. So with that, we'd just be looking for a motion tonight, and then we'd get them started at the next committee meetings.
Make the motion.
Okay, so I think, so we have a motion by Ted, second by Dennis. Discussion?
I just want to thank our chairs, G and Judy, for giving us the opportunity to expand this process a little bit. I want to thank Corey for facilitating the development of that process. I was able to sit on all the candidates, and in both communities we had excellent candidates. I was really proud of the community for coming forth like that. And I just think that we, through the process, chosen people who are going to represent our community very well in these committees. So thank you to everybody involved in that.
Well said, Dennis. Any other comments?
Thank you for the people that came forward. It was really heartwarming to see the response, and really talented people.
It was a good opportunity to get to know our community members a little bit better. So. Okay, with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Future meetings, dates, and times. Next school board meeting will be October 9th, 2023. And then on October 23rd, we have a budget hearing and a special board meeting. And our next committee meetings, again, Ed Services is the first Monday of the month at 5:30. Business Services and HR at 6:30. I am looking, item number 15, adjournment. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Okay, so moved by Dennis.
Second.
Second by Alex. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Record time.